Now if we go and turn off the light, the button, we have it. We have the next one here called the stroke. If we click on this, we can add multiple strokes to a work. So for anyone that have a plus sign, you can add multiple to the work. Then you can also delete the one you've written or the one you've added by coming and writing the delete. So let's go to the stroke. So what does the stroke do? The stroke adds an outline to your text or whatever image or layer that is selected. Now, if you see this one here stands for the size. To see what size of stroke is to be added, first, since we are using a white background, I'm going to come and change the color of this stroke to a black so we can see the effect of it. So now, what is the fill type? Do you want it to be a color or a gradient? We can have a gradient fill. We can select, there are preset gradients that have been outlined for us. We can say we want it to have this gradient. We'll click on OK. We're coming back to gradient, but for now, let's deal with color. Let's deal with color first. So we want it to have a size. It's too much. So whenever we are having a stroke, we should make sure that the stroke still maintains the shape or helps us to highlight the shape of what we are writing. So it doesn't go something like this and look like something else. So we should make sure it always still draws the symbol of what we are doing. Then we can choose to put it outside or inside or at the center, depending on how we want it to be. We can make the blending mode different blending modes. Maybe the lightning, it's not going to show. It's showing, but we can't see it. Maybe we want it to be the screen. Maybe we want it to dark color. But it's best to just leave it at normal so that you just have the best output for it. Okay, so we can also change the opacity. How light or how dark do we want the stroke to appear on the work? So those are all for stroke. So we come and turn it off. Then we'll come to the inner shadow. What's the inner shadow like? The inner shadow also, just like the name implies, cast an inner shadow on the text or the layer selected. We can come and click the distance of the inner shadow. Can we see the inner shadow? This sets a distance between the inner shadow of the work. We can increase the choke. The choke is the thickness of the shadow, and we can also increase or reduce the size of the shadow. Also, the opacity of the shadow can be increased or reduced to show something like this. If it makes it lighter once we reduce the opacity, and it makes it bigger once we increase the opacity. Also, we have this angle, and the angle shows us what direction do we want the shadow to fall on. If we change this, if we click anywhere to change the shadow, we can see the different angles. So you can choose any one of your taste to see how you want the work to come out. Then you can still also come to your contour and choose the different types you like, or you could just leave it by default. Okay, and always make sure this use global light is ticked. If you remove it, it's going to rearrange the whole thing, but you can use, when you click on use global light, it makes sure it maintains and stick to what is obtainable or preferable. So for your inner shadow, you can, don't forget, you can change the distance of the shadow. It's a shadow, it's not another extra text. So just like you have a normal shadow, you can change the shadow, the distance, you can change the choke, the intensity, how you want it to be strong or light. You can change the size also, increasing or decreasing the size of the stroke. So for that, we have the inner glow. So the inner glow works like the inner shadow also, only that, let me give you another color so that we can see. Only that the difference is we can come and increase the size. it's a represent. Let me increase it. It's just like this. It's just like the inner shadow, but it's just a glow, right? It works inward, and we can also adjust it. We can make it at the edge. We can make it at the center to come from in between. We can leave it at the edge. We can detect. We can make it precise. That is to be stronger. The size can also be increased or reduced depending on what we want to achieve with our graphics design. The blend mode can be left at screen by default, or we can choose to change it to any one of our type or any one of our choice rather. So we have the noise. What is the noise? The noise is more like how smooth or how coarse do we want it to be. If we increase this noise, we see that it's more like a scanty droplet of the color. So for every design, each person have what you want to achieve, and that can be used to achieve it as you like. All right. So we come to satin also. We have the satin. What's the satin like? The satin is more like a gradient fill that is applied to our layer. Everything in the layer style all works with adjustment. The distance, the size, can we see it? The distance, the size, all depending on how we want to edit. We can drag and drag and drag and drag, and all to suit our purpose.